Hello everybody, welcome back to Tempest Books. I'm Rebecca and today we are looking at a monster book called Invasive Species by Stephen Streeter. Now this was a random find on Amazon for me. I think it was in my suggested reading line where you click through a few times and every now and then you find something good. I think actually the price caught my eye because it was on special if you've got Amazon Prime and it was like $5 or $6. So I immediately sent a text to one of my family members that has Amazon Prime and I'm like, can you get that for me please? So they did that and it arrived within days. I was really surprised. It turned out this is actually a print on demand book. I thought it was going to be secondhand, so that was a really nice surprise. I was happy with that. Now this was a 3-star read for me. It's probably not really a reread book. It's probably something I'll just have read the once and be done with, but I am glad I read it. It was a good book and it would have made for an awesome movie. It's like someone should make this into a movie. It would be actually really good. Now this book is based in Australia and it's actually written by an Australian author, so bonus points there. The book takes us to the Yorke Peninsula in South Australia, and we are thrust into the lives of two main characters. So we have Braden, a primary school teacher, and we have Anthea, a snake catcher. We follow this unlikely duo as they go from a random school event where they're kind of, establishing a friendship between themselves to chasing down a mythical creature that looks like a snake. Now, there were some really good points in this book. I loved the integration of mythology into what is a fairly accurate sort of, Australian small town life. The author took some really good mythological basis and gave it their own spin. They took the concepts that, have been around for a long time and adapted them and made it their own, and I really liked that. That was really cool. The snake creatures were fairly creepy. They were oddly anthropomorphized really well in a way that, you believed it, while at the same time you were on the character's side of knowing they shouldn't be anthropomorphizing what they can see, but not being able to resist it because it just seemed to fit so well. These were creepy snakes and they really did look like they were gonna bollocks you up with intent and revenge and again intent. They really didn't like you more than your regular snakes. Normally in Australia, if you leave a snake alone, it'll leave you alone for the most part. Snakes don't worry me in particular. I have to step over snake tracks on the regular just to get to my office. I have to go up a bush road or a bush path to get to my office, and it's the same path that the snakes have to go across to get to the water. So, I have to be careful. I keep an eye out. And so, yeah, snakes don't bother me too much, apart from that initial minor heart attack when all of a sudden one moves and you hadn't noticed it was there. You kind of go, oh, whew, okay, come on your way. Let's go. Got places to be. And so, I went into it going, cool. It's good. It's something to do with snakes. I don't mind snakes, but yeah, the mythological sort of basis that they put the snakes into was really quite interesting. I liked it. There was some really cool gore in this, and the settings and the reality of the characters felt really realistic. Like it felt like a proper real life that anyone could be living, not just some awesome experiment that an uber scientist is conducting or anything like a lot of monster books. This was really realistic. It was a real small town that I could see myself being. It was a real situation that I could see myself stumbling over. So that was a real good draw in the book. Like it was a relatable in a way that a lot of monster books just aren't. There was very little science in the book. Like the snake catcher lady was a herpetologist, as a lot of snake catchers that do it as a profession are, as this lady does. But they didn't go into a huge amount of how exactly these animals existed or what made them up. Just enough to kind of be able to build the image of what you're looking at in your head and see the differences from a snake to these creatures. Which was good. I kind of enjoyed not seriously having to exercise my brain to be able to keep up with a monster book. So it was nice and relaxed in that regard, while still being enough to give the book a realism of the monster. I did read this book in just a couple of hours. It's only 300 or so pages, but it did take me a few days to get through it, and unfortunately that was because of the one issue I do have with the book. I had a lot of trouble gelling with the main characters, or specifically the main character that you're watching the book through. So this is in first person voice. It's from the perspective of the main male character. I did like the main male character, he was cool, but there were times that he drove me to distraction. The main reason the rating of this book for me stayed at 3 was because I struggled to get past his point of view. He was just really hard to gel with because he couldn't make a decision. It's like, do you like the female character or do you not? Do you like the situation or do you not? Do you want to go forward with the situation or do you not? Are you going to give in to the doubts or are you not? Oh my god, at some point you have to make a freaking decision! His constant vacillating drove me nuts. I liked the characters, I did, but oh my god, make a decision! I've seen teenagers who are more definitive in what they want than this guy. Yeah, his constant vacillating would just drove me from Barney to Bedlam. It really did. Unfortunately, it was hard to pass through. The first half of the book felt like a slog at times because of what was constantly going on in this guy's head. And because of a large part of the book is the character interactions, it took away from the overall experience for me, which I'm bummed about because the rest of the book was awesome. Like I said, I think it'd make an amazing monster movie. I hope someone makes a monster movie out of this. It would be a really cool little movie to spend an afternoon on. Or if you really want to max on some of the awesome action at the end, in a movie theatre would also be cool. So yes, in the end this book was 3 stars. I did like it. I struggled with the character interactions, which is why unfortunately it stayed at 3 stars for me. But it was a good light book on science. It was believable and had a nice mythological sort of aspect to it. I would recommend it as a light monster read if you can deal with the constantly vacillating mental state of the characters. So, Invasive Species by Stephen Streeter. 3 stars for me. I probably won't reread it, but I am glad I did read it. It was a fun time. So thank you for coming on this review with me, guys. Let me know if you've read this book, what you thought of it, or if you've read something like it. I'm always after a monster book that is set in Australia somewhere because, you know, who doesn't want to read about monsters in their own backyard? All right, thanks, guys. See you next time.